Alright guys, just here with a quick deck tech showing you the deck I'm going to be trying over the next couple of videos, hopefully to some success. So we've got Elite Kylo Ren at 13 and Elite Darth Vader, the new Emo Vader at 17 for a full 30. And just giving it a try that way. I mean, you can see the cards here, what they do, you should all be familiar with them. Worth noting as well, Darth Vader has technically 4 damage sides. His special is very much a damage side, so 2 3s, a 2 and a 1, making him one of the most powerful, in my opinion, cards in the meta at the moment. Now, obviously there are some costs associated with these cards, 2 resource sides. We're going to talk more about that in a second. We'll go over our choice of battlefield. We've got the Emperor's Throne Room, turn it to a special. Both our characters have specials, and we can claim that. Obviously, Vader's the special we want to resolve the most, but Kylo Ren has a great special as well. Now, more often than not, this leads to the opponent actually, in all my playtesting so far, whenever I've lost, which, by the way, is very rare, when I've lost the roll, the opponent has often opted to give me their battlefield, giving me the shields. Which, as you know, those who've seen my videos know that I always say, 2 shields is always broken. You should always always get those. That effectively turns this Vader into a 13 health Darth Vader. But anyway, the reason we never really lose rolls is there's just so much so many high pointed sides that we can actually roll to get something good. That being said, we can also, there's a very big glass cannon, it can blow up in our face, but more often than not, we're winning those battlefield rolls. All right, so what we're going to do, this is our choice of characters for starting dice. What we're going to do, we're going to go over and talk about our events. We'll do the events first. So, first and foremost, meditate. A new one, so we'll just zoom in, have a look at it. Exhaust the support and remove one of your dice showing a blank to turn one of your dice to a side not showing damage. Very, very powerful in helping us set up those Darth Vader specials, which is insane. Like 3 damage, 1 to himself is insane. 0 cost as well, so we can focus our resources just on the paying the actual abilities. Now we've got Enrage, nothing new there. I know it seems stupid dealing ourselves with damage, but with such a greedy resource-heavy deck, a lot of opponents do actually claim. So as an example, we might have a 3 damage for a resource showing with Vader, and the opponent might look and say, oh, he's got no resource and might have 2 or 3 cards in hand. I'll just claim he can't resolve that 3. We play Enrage for free, deal him a damage, and then resolve that 3. So Enrage, I think, is a key crucial component. Not only that, but we can also potentially get the quick turn 1 lightsaber off onto Kylo or Vader. Vader should normally be the target they go for, so usually it's suited straight up onto Vader as soon as they've damaged him. Going over, we've got Trust Your Instincts, one of the most underrated cards in my opinion. So spot a blue character to reroll any number of its character and upgrade dice, then you may draw a card. So effectively a free reroll for 1 blue character. Yes, it does cost us an action, but it can potentially draw us into something actually relevant. More often than not, let's say we have a holocron down but no good upgrades to play, we can hope to hit that. If we roll in, let's say Kylo Ren, we then if we're really not happy with his rolls, we can use this, reroll whatever upgrades we had on him, and then hopefully draw into an upgrade or an ability or an event that we can play to help us later in the game. Deflect is a bit of a flex at the moment. To me, the decks that scare me the most are the stacked heavy range damage ones, and Deflect just not only removes a dice but also reflects that damage back onto them, which I feel is crucial. Moving along to Feel Your Anger, I feel that this is one of the greatest removal cards that Villain Blue has access to. More often than not, they're going to be rolling 1 blank, and we can actually just straight up say 1 resource, get rid of your best dice. Very, very rare for that to happen. On the plus side, there are times when they'll roll 2 or 3 blanks, and we just capitalize on that, okay? More opponents will actually, obviously, roll all their characters in before deciding on rerolls for that maximum card efficiency. A single No Mercy, this has been a kind of a tough call. I'm playing around with it, whether I go to 1 or 2, but I feel 1 is just good enough to deal damage, something you want to see in the late game. 2 resources already. Vader does have 2 non-resource damage sides. Kylo only has 1. So it was debatable about whether I included the second. I've opted for 1 because I feel that if you get 1 good No Mercy off, that's more often than not all you'll need. Now, Power of the Force is an interesting one. You'll see in a minute how many blue upgrades we do have, but I find that this can actually just steal games. I've been able to deal it constantly for 3 to 4 minimum on just 1 range or 1 melee side. which is awesome. Not to mention if we ever need shields for whatever reason, or we ever need resources for whatever reason, or a discard even on Vader, we're able to do so. A singleton isolation with 2 blue characters, so no issue there, and just great removal. You'll notice I'm a bit light on in removal. This is definitely more of a aggressive kind of damage dealing deck at this stage. As you can see here, we're just trying to go all out and get some of the damage. We just play some convenient removal for us. All right, let's go over the upgrades. So at the 0 cost, we are running 2 force speed. With 2 blue characters, I feel 2 is the right number. It gives us another dice to help power the power of the force. The focus and shield are also very, very good. From what I've seen as well, a lot of players are so quick to claim those 2 actions. If you know that those 2 actions are not going to help you on the battlefield, it's not going to be used against you, and you know you have no chance of claiming, don't be afraid to reroll, okay? More often than not, trying to get the focus of the shield can actually be good enough. Holocron needs no introduction. You're about to see why. Now, here are some interesting inclusion. Only 1 force illusion. I find it's not as good with so many vibro knives running around, but just 1 is enough kind of recursion for us to maybe stall out a little bit of time. Datapad. So Datapad is more to combo, again, up here with these guys, particularly with Vader at this stage. So a couple of blanks as well to help out with meditation. So we've got resource ++, and then we've got focus, sorry, the special. Turn 1 of your dice to a side, not showing damage. So more often than not, that'll obviously go to a special, which is just what we want. All right, so just 1, again, just being cautious of no mercy. We'll go down a little bit further. You'll notice I've put over on the, that should be on the left, sorry. On the left here, we've got the non-ability upgrades. So everything on down the right side here can be put in with Holocron, which I find is just really good. But anyway, continuing on. We've got 2 Vibro Knife, speaks for itself, getting under shields. Ambush, I mean, what more do you want? It's a fantastic card. Makashi Training, I find, has just been phenomenal. Not only for the 3+ sides, but just the action has been fantastic every time I've used it. You can Holocron it in, much better than Force Training. Lightsaber, I find, as soon as you Holocron, be it a throw or a push, don't be afraid to overwrite them for a lightsaber to get that redeploy value, unless, of course, both characters are dying pretty fast. Note, I don't want Kylo Saber. I'll talk more about that later, but Kylo Saber without the redeploy, I feel is just a game breaker. All right, the deal changer, I should say. 1 force push. I feel that force throw is just so much better. I mean, yes, this can deal 2 and can blank some size and has to do 2 discard, but the special on force throw, in my opinion, is where we want to be. What we really want to be doing with the deck. And yeah, and finally, 2 force lightning. No mind probe. Mind probe I found a little bit too expensive. More players are emptying their hands faster. The 3 damage is good, but has a range side, and the 5 sides are just fantastic. I just think Force Lightning is one of the better upgrades that we can see at this stage. So that's the full 30. So as you can see, we've got, what's that, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We've got a 16, 14 split. No, 15 is it? 6. Sorry, I can't math tonight. Yep, so 15... 6, 10, 15, 17, 13. Yeah, 17, 13, sorry. So 17, 13 split between upgrades and events. As I said, I feel this deck just wants to load up the characters and get down to business, really, trying to deal with damage. It's worth noting, I would happily swap Kylo Ren out, but I feel what the villains are lacking at the moment is a good yellow 13-point elite character. I've been thinking about potentially Django as a single dice version for a bit more speed and efficiency, but so far I think Kylo's probably just a bit better. The special can grant us some inconsistency, but we'll take the good with the bad. Now we're going to have a quick discussion about some cards I've left out. So you'll see that these are all cards that are not in the deck. I'll go through them a little bit more in depth as to why I haven't put them in. It Binds All Things was a bit of an interesting one. A lot of people would look at it and say, well, hang on, you're running so many blue upgrades, why don't you want to do it? I think this deck can function, just like old traditional Vader Raider, it can function very well without actually having to play an upgrade. And I find It Binds All Things is an upgrade that is only worth having in your opening hand. And even the games I had it in my opening hand, I found that it wasn't as good. Let me give you an example. If I've got, say, a Holocron and something else, you're not going to utilize anyway if you've got a Holocron. In terms of the non-ability upgrades you can use it on, just the non-ability upgrades. Like, lightsaber, you can't get it down turn 1 anyway with the binds all things. Vibro knife isn't going to help, like, because it's not blue. And I don't know, I just... Personally, I just wasn't a fan of it at all. Anyway, Dark Presence. After one of your dice rolls a discard, you may exhaust the support to force an opponent to choose and remove one of their dice. 0 cost. Absolutely fantastic. The downside, though, as you can see, there is only 1 discard side on Vader. Yes, we're running 2 dice, but it's not good enough for me. Now, we do run other cards that do have a discard side, but they're generally 2 cost or higher. As a result, this takes a cut at the moment over the far more useful for us Meditate. Fits with our game plan in getting specials for our characters. We've got Intimidate. With Vibro Knife going under shields, I find that this is just not needed at this point. Goes without saying, even though it is 0 costed. A lot of shield decks I personally think have fallen by the wayside, particularly like Dooku and stuff. Like, yeah, there's no point. Lightsaber Throw, again, this was a really tough decision. I find when we're spending our resources on either mitigation or our ordinary cards, yes, we do have like the Enrage and stuff like that, but I don't know. I just find dealing 2 damage just wasn't enough for me. If it was 3, it would have been absolutely fine. If it was 1 damage and 3, it would absolutely be in. But for now, no dice. All right. Use the Force. Soft removal or soft setup allows the opponent to interact with us. As a result, use the Force. Probably not what I want to play. Overconfidence. I don't know. There's multiple ways you can play this card. So spot a blue character, reroll 2 dice. So there's 2 ways you can play this. The first way is obviously where you can choose one of your dice and one of your opponent's dice. And obviously, you want to pick one of your dice that's fairly stacked or fairly good compared to one of their kind of weaker ones. Obviously, you get a reroll. You potentially get to remove theirs, but it still has the potential to blow up in your face. Okay? Not only that, but even if you did it on 2 of theirs, which is the second way, you still may not get to choose the dice you actually want to remove in this game. And I think that's what kind of just really irks me about overconfidence. The variants in play, I just don't see the point in it. All right, Force Choke. This is a hotly contested one. I'm actually not a fan of Force Choke at all anymore. I wasn't a fan of it in Awakenings. The only reason I ran 2 in my original Vader Raider list is because you needed a turn 1 play, and sometimes Force Choke just did that. Not only that, but it could also combo well with Holocron. But as you can see, a lot of these sides just aren't great. Dealing 1 unblockable damage to another character and then turning its character upgrade dice to any side is good. However, Fast Hands is a card that is taking over the meta quite quickly. As a result, they usually resolve their best dice straight away with Fast Hands, so it's not really a card that I'm, really thinking would have an impact. Not only that, but no straight damage kind of hurts us a fair bit. Kylo's Lightsaber, no redeploy is a real kind of issue for it here. Okay, it is a great card, but with only 11 and 11 health on both of our characters, I feel by the time we get it out, even if it is turn 1, it may not be useful enough, particularly because it requires a resource to pay for one of the sides anyway. Hidden in the Shadows, again, shields, not as good with Vibro Knife running around. We can Holocron it. It is 1 upgrade, but yeah, no thank you. I think it definitely belongs if you're going like an all-in kind of build on Power of the Force, but for now, I don't think it's where my version of this deck wants to be. If Vibro Knife falls by the wayside, there's an argument to bring it in because of Vader damaging himself, but for now, I just can't see a point. All right, now I am the Master. I don't know. To me, it's an upgrade that just comes down and does nothing. It can't be holocroned, and that's the issue I have with it. If I'm playing an upgrade, I want it to have some kind of impact, be it saving health like Force Illusion or anything like that. Now I am the Master can mitigate damage, but your opponent can see it coming. It is a resource. It takes up an upgrade slot. It's something I don't want in my deck at the moment. Doubt has the potential to backfire on you. Doesn't combo with No Mercy. A few minor faults with it. If Overkill starts really seeing a spike in popularity, I think it'll come back in because that just straight up gets rid of a 0 cost way to get rid of Overkill, which I think is rather nice. But yeah. Now, Rise Again, I think speaks for itself. Your big 5 up there. We don't really have a lot of ways to gain resources. As you can see, the 2 resource costs here kind of limit the amount of resources that we're eventually going to be able to take anyway. So if I was going to run 1, but I'm not sold on it, I think we need to be able to get the job done right then and there. It only heals 5 damage too, which, let's be honest, late in the game, with both teams suited up, 5 damage is really easy to come across. Damage kind of escalates really high the later the game goes on. High ground, too situational. As soon as a yellow character comes out, where we have access to, say, fast hands and things like that, I think high ground will absolutely be the play for this deck. But at the moment, play only if you control the battlefield, too hard to kind of regulate. So that just kind of gives you a summary of some cards that were maybe going to make the cut, but not quite. Now, there is technically another way you can build this deck, and there's some other situational cards. I'm just going to talk about them now. So down here is, in my opinion, another way that you can build the deck, and that's, of course, with Anger, Manipulate, and a second copy of Datapad. Now, let's talk about it. So Anger is a card that says, play only if you have 2 or more dice showing blanks. Resolve an opponent's dice showing damage as if it were your die. So obviously, that's massive. But there's a few kind of RNG or variance factors I want to talk about. First of all, 2 blanks is very hard to come across, with the dice you've got. Now, playing a second copy of Datapad does help that because it does have a second blank. But realistically, it's still unfavorable to get 2 blanks anyway. However, when comboed with Manipulate, it can be quite powerful. Now, the issue with Manipulate, though, it is free, but it's soft removal. It doesn't actually remove their dice. They're free to go and re-roll and try and, obviously claim further. Then, of course, Datapad is the other thing we can include. Now, just to give you an idea, and this is kind of on the fly, I haven't really thought too much about what I would cut if I were to include these cards. Now, I think if we're going to have Anger and Manipulate here, I believe that the Deflect would be probably one of the ones to go straight away. On top of that, let's have a look. Fear, Anger, Trust Your Instincts, Enrage, Meditate. Meditate combo as well with these, so we keep the Meditate. We have to cut some of these upgrades. I'd probably be okay cutting maybe a Force Push or a Lightsaber to get those in here. And maybe even a No Mercy because we're bringing in that second Datapad, but it all depends on what they, want to do. The 2 Feel Your Angers would obviously stay because it combos well with your Manipulate. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the deck tech. As you can see, we've just put all the deck together now, ready to bag it up and play test a few games. But I think has potential to be a very real deck, a very kind of threatening deck, if you will. And yeah, if you've got any feedback, please don't hesitate to let me know. And yeah, thanks for watching.